Every night, once the house went dark, when the TV fell silent, and the wind began brushing the window panes, I'd often notice a soft glow at the end of the hallway. It was my mother's room, and the same nightlight she'd used for over 10 years. The light wasn't harsh, it was an ivory white, just enough to see her cabinet, her medicine bottle, and the book she always kept by her pillow. I used to think of that light as her little companion, something that made the room feel less lonely, a small glow that helped her feel like she still had control over the night. But one thing quietly bothered me. Even with that gentle light, my mother still couldn't sleep. She wasn't anxious, she wasn't sick, she lay still, no tossing, no shifting, and yet her eyes stayed open, as if something very small was holding her back. I tried everything, chamomile tea, soft music, even rearranged her room. But nothing changed, until one night I decided to change the bulb. And what happened after that was something neither of us expected. If you've ever thought a night light was just a small detail, this story might make you look at it through a different kind of light. My mother is 74. She doesn't use her phone at night. She hasn't touched coffee after lunch in decades. She's never relied on sleeping pills. Her days are simple and steady. She eats on time, waters the garden each morning, takes quiet walks around the house. She's tidy, calm. She lives like clockwork. And yet, she hasn't slept through the night in years. Some nights, she'd fall asleep at 10, only to wake up at 1 a.m. Other nights, she'd lie in the dark for hours, unable to drift off until nearly 2. When I asked, she'd just smile and say, "I guess that's just how it is when you get old." Older people don't sleep much, right? Everyone in the family thought the same, that once you reach a certain age, sleep just changes. And insomnia, it's just part of aging, nothing we can do. I believed that until one night. It was close to 1 a.m. I got up to get a glass of water and passed her room. The light was still on, softly spilling out under the door. I peeked in. She was lying on her side, eyes wide open, hands resting on her stomach. The room was still, but it didn't feel restful, because right above her head, a cool white nightlight glowed steadily like an artificial moon. Not too bright to hurt the eyes, but not warm enough to invite sleep either. Something about it felt wrong, not because of fear, not because of illness, but because the light might be tricking her body. I started reading, asking, learning, and I discovered something not many people talk about. White light, especially with a blue hue, if used in the evening, can send the wrong signal to the brain. It slows down the release of melatonin, the natural hormone that helps prepare the body for sleep. The result, the body still thinks it's daytime, even when the clock has already struck midnight. For younger people, the body may cope. But for seniors, the body's internal rhythm is far more sensitive. Just one misplaced light can throw the whole sleep cycle out of sync. That night, I went back to my room, but I couldn't shake the thought. For years, we'd believed my mother's sleeplessness was just due to age. But what if it wasn't her age? What if it was that one little light on for too long? Too close and in the wrong color? And if that was true for her, maybe it's true for many others. Others who live quietly, peacefully, but still can't sleep. After that night, I began taking notes. Nothing scientific, just a small notebook with 4 simple columns. Time Mom went to bed, what light was on, color of the light, how she felt the next morning. Every night before I went to sleep, I glanced into her room. That same white night light was still there, positioned right beside her bed, casting a glow directly down onto her pillow like a quiet shadow. The room hadn't changed, but I knew something small in there was quietly affecting everything. So one morning, I made a change. I brought home a warm amber night bulb, 2700K, soft golden. And without saying much, I replaced her old bulb. She noticed. The old bulb wasn't broken, she said softly. I'm used to it. This one feels kind of yellow, not as clear. I didn't argue, just smiled and said, let's just try it, Mom, for 1 week. If you don't like it, I'll switch it back. Think of it like a little ad experiment. She sighed, then nodded, not because she believed it would help, but because she didn't want to hurt my feelings. I also moved the lamp a little farther from the bed. Instead of shining straight down on her face, the light now bounced off the wall, softer, indirect. Each morning I'd ask, how many hours did you sleep? Did you wake up at all? She answered casually, not expecting anything different. Day 1 slept like usual, no real difference. My eyes didn't feel so strained this morning. Day 5. Felt like I drifted off easier last night. Then, on the 10th night, she held up the notebook and showed me a big. Last night I slept 5 hours straight. No waking up, no tossing, just sleep. I didn't say a word, just smiled and felt my throat tighten. She flipped back to the first page, to the wobbly handwriting that tracked each night, and whispered, funny. I thought it was just a light bulb. Who knew? It could feel so comforting. From that night on, she marked the notebook herself. For a good night for waking up in the middle if she forgot to dim the lights early. After 2 weeks, the pages were filled with only 2 little circles. She didn't need reminders anymore. Each night, she would dim the lights herself, tuck in her blanket, and sit quietly in the amber glow like the warm flicker of a candle from a bedtime story. The room was still the same. The bed hadn't changed, but the light had softened. And because of that, so had her sleep. Sleep didn't come like magic. It came because she changed one small habit and felt in control again. She told me before I used to lie in bed and wonder how many times will I wake up tonight. But now, when I turn off the light, it's like my body feels lighter. If I sleep through, great. If I don't, we try again tomorrow. And for me, that was enough. She no longer feared the night, no longer felt like she was losing to her own sleep. A single bulb didn't change the whole world, but it changed the way she closed her day. And for my 74-year-old mom, that was enough to begin sleeping again as if she had never lost the rhythm in the first place. After 10 nights with the new light, my mother no longer asked, should we go back to the old one? She didn't need reminders. She didn't need convincing, because sleep like an old friend who finally forgives had started knocking on her door each night, gently invited by something as simple as softer light. 1. All it took was a warm, amber light 2700K. I didn't buy a fancy bulb, no anti-insomnia features, no smart tech, just a regular 2700K bulb, a soft, warm tone, like the late afternoon sun falling over the brick patio, where my mom once picked herbs. Her hands used to be dusty from the soil, but her heart always felt calm. That same soft yellow didn't glow brightly, but when switched on, the whole room seemed to whisper to her eyes and heart, the day is over. You can exhale now. 2. Avoid blue-white LED lights before bed. Back then, Mom was used to having the ceiling light on all evening, bright and white. But that kind of light stimulates the brain, suppressing melatonin, our body's natural sleep hormone. So I gently suggested after 8:30, let's turn off the strong lights. Just keep the small lamp on, like the candles Grandma used to light by the altar. She agreed, not because she understood the biology, but because the amber light made her feel less worried. 3. If using overhead lights, bounce the light off the walls. Sometimes we had guests. The house needed to stay well lit. But instead of shining the ceiling lights directly downward, I angled them toward the wall or ceiling. No glare, no harsh shadows on her face. The room stayed bright enough, but without light pressure. Mom said it feels like a cloudy day, still light out, but quiet. 4. Add simple bedtime rituals to go with the light. The new bulb was just the beginning. To truly welcome sleep, we added a few soft gestures to close the day gently, folding the pillow not for neatness, but because Mom felt like she was preparing the bed, as if inviting sleep to lie down next to her. She smoothed the blanket, aligned the pillow just right. Each little motion was like saying, "You're welcome to come in." Now sleep, writing one thing she was grateful for. Each evening she pulled out a small sheet of paper and wrote just 1 or 2 lines. Thankful for the clear sky this morning. Thankful my son called today. No analysis, no long entries, just a small act to stop the mind from spinning, sitting in stillness and breathing. Finally, she sat on the bed, turned off the light, and just breathed. No prayers, no counting, just this exhale. A little longer, inhale, a little softer. The room wasn't completely dark, but it wasn't bright either. Just enough for her mind to understand, it's nighttime, and I'm allowed to rest. After 3 weeks, Mom said something that made me stop what I was doing. I feel like I'm the one choosing to sleep now, not just lying there waiting. The night isn't a battle anymore. No medicine, no experts, just a small light bulb switched at the right time and a few gentle rituals repeated the right way. Mom resting against a pillow, warm amber light on her face. Her eyes are soft, half closed. Wind brushes the curtain. Peace surrounds her. Better sleep begins with softer light. If you've stayed with me this far, maybe you've had nights like my mother. Nights where you tried everything, a cup of tea, sitting still, closing your eyes, counting your breath, and still your eyes stayed open. And sleep didn't come. Not because you weren't tired enough, not because you were thinking too much, but sometimes simply because the room was still too bright. You might be using a nightlight just like my mother used to. A soft white glow, not harsh, just enough to read the paper or walk safely across the room, but just bright enough to keep your body from realizing it's time to rest. And if you ever find yourself lying there, not in pain, not anxious, just unsettled, maybe what you need isn't another new trick. Maybe it's letting go of one old thing, the light. Tonight, I invite you to try just one small thing. Turn off your lights 30 minutes earlier. Or if possible, switch from white light to a warm amber bulb. Or even simpler, keep just one small light on facing the wall, not your bed. Turn off the ceiling light. Sit quietly beside your bed and simply breathe. You don't need to change everything, just soften things a little, because sleep doesn't like noise. It looks for quiet, for darkness, and for the kindness of a gentle invitation. If you try and find yourself sleeping again, you might want to share. What kind of light do you use at night? How does light affect your sleep? Is there a bedtime ritual that helps you feel calm? Or if you don't feel like writing, just think of one thing you're grateful for today. That alone is already a beautiful way to close your day. My mother once believed sleep problems are just something you have to accept at this age. But she was wrong, not because she didn't try hard enough, but because no one had ever told her light knows how to whisper too. Sleep isn't a reward reserved for the young. It's a right for all of us when we learn how to let go, softly, and truly want peace. And you deserve that, not because you've done everything right, but simply because you've lived through another day, and now you deserve to rest. The light you end your day with can decide how your night begins. Wishing you a peaceful night, and if tonight you sleep 1 hour longer, perhaps it all began with one light turned off just a little sooner.